Hello, I'm François Bouteille again, and this is lesson, the presentation number 10. It should be the last for this series of videos. We may give you some more videos which we have made as a try in London and Oxford this summer, but it was something we made during some holidays we took, and probably the quality of sound is not so good, and maybe it was more improvised, probably Christine will put that on YouTube also, I don't know. This lesson I would suggest that people who listen to this series, all these videos that we put, the 10 videos, well, I do all that, of course, because I want to be useful to you, and also because I think that we may develop a common activity with people all around the world, in English-speaking countries, So our way of working is original because we have independence. We are independent. We try to be independent from manufacturers, in this case manufacturers of compressors, but we do not depend either on any manufacturer or of any kind of boiler or whatever, flow meter, nothing. We are also independent from energy suppliers. We do work for energy suppliers. Very often we work for Électricité de France, who is a good client of us, maybe 8% of our activity. And we work for GDF Suez, who is another producer in France of electricity, and some places in Europe and the world. We work for Air Liquide. These people are very good clients. But we have a mind that our reports should be independent, in the sense that we have to say the truth in some work that we offer people. When we make audit of some installation, we have to keep honesty in the way we work. This is very important for us. The other point is that we think that doing such a work and training people for such a work may be an opportunity, even for you, to reduce conservatism. Very often people replace one compressor when it is broken or too old by a compressor the same size or a bit bigger, This is a general tendency in France, and I saw the same in England and in Italy, And very often they don't have a clear path for improvement of their installation, And especially they do not have a clear path for reduction of compressed air consumption. So reduce conservatism. This is something that a training may induce it may help to have people thinking more actively, This will come through some heuristics which can be explained also during the training. We have one series of heuristics which comes from what we call in France l'analyse de la valeur, value analysis maybe. It's using essentially 4 verbs, which is suppress. We can suppress usages of compressor, which can be replaced by a fan, by something much cheaper for energy, for example. Sometimes we find usages that can be completely suppressed because they serve no real purpose. We can reduce. This is sometimes what we do when we measure flows. We can simply say, okay, 2 operators are using very different flows. Why is there such a difference? The third verb is améliorer in French. It means make better. I'm not sure I know the word in English. Make better compressed air. Making better compressed air very often means making better quality compressed air. So we are not people who only think of reducing, saving. You know, it's not possible to run a factory with only the mind of saving. You also have to be sure that you make an excellent work, an excellent compressed air, and that the pressure is sufficient everywhere for the machines, and that there is no risk for people, and no, as much as possible, no noise, no way of making people sick with compressed air. And the last thing is we can also create. In this case, creating means create a new installation which is necessary for a function, for a purpose, which was not well met. The need was not covered by the actual installation. For example, a reserve compressor. You may need a reserve compressor, or maybe you decide not to get it, not to have it, but this is your choice. So this is a series of heuristic. You know, we have another series of heuristic which help reducing conservatism, and which comes from a very funny origin for me. You know, in my eyes, it comes from the U.S. War College. The U.S. War College have invented a way of making analysis of what they call the strategic environment. And in a funny way, it's very useful. I'm not sure it's so useful for military strategy. They think it is. I don't know if they are very successful with their strategy. It seems that they are not. But maybe they do not apply the theory the right way. But you may consider the four words they use. The first one is volatility. Volatility may concern flow, which is variable, and pressure, which is unstable. You know, this is something which is the quantity of air which is needed for a factory is very volatile. You know, so we have to think about that. Volatility is very often a problem for the designer. The designer of compressed air installation have to think, okay, today we use 10,000 cubic meters per hour, but next year we shall have more consumption because we may have more machines, and then we shall stop this line and we will reduce. It is very difficult to take care of volatility, and this is a work for all, but also for designers. You know, the designer must also use sufficient compressor tanks to stabilize, you know, the pressure. So there are many verbs that can go with volatility. You can regulate, stabilize by means of tank. You can also put several small compressors instead of one big compressor. This is the kind of thing the designer will have to think about. After volatility, there was a second word which is very important to us, which is uncertainty. This is what the American strategists look for and analyze, and we do so also when we have measurements results. You know, very often it's not easy to know if the measurement results are accurate or not, and the reference conditions of compressed air normal cubic meter is not always clear. Sometimes it's 0 Celsius, sometimes it's 20 Celsius, sometimes it's 15 Celsius. So we can speak about uncertainty, and uncertainty is something which is important for audit. The auditor of a compressed air installation, energy audits, they sometimes make very clever thinking about indicators which are very uncertain. We don't know if the measure was accurate, and we do not know always if it was a significant period, you know. Maybe it has been measured in a time when the factory was not working at full load, you know. Maybe there was a strike. We never know these things. After uncertainty, they look for complexity. Complexity, when I read the book of Dr. Jager from the US War College, it was striking. It's also our problem. A technician, the man who makes the operator, you know, the technician of operation is very much interested by reducing complexity. So we cannot always have very simple installation. You know, if we have to have more dryers to meet different requirements of different machines, it has to be complex. But simplifying things might be something very important for him. And the last thing was ambiguity. Ambiguity is something that you meet in so many outsourcing contracts. So I will not develop that, but you understand that the time, the duration that you need before you repair a compressor, for example, can be, and you give pressure again, maybe 4 hours or maybe more, and it's sometimes very ambiguous. So concerning this part, so you have excellent books which can be bought from I think it's Prager, you know. It's Dr. Jager. He's a very clever man, you know, very interesting analyst. And it's funny that it's useful for compressor when the man works for the US Army, or the college of the US Army. So this is the things that we hope that we can help you reduce. Conservatism, and Dr. Jager said it was useful to help American militaries to have a critical mind, you know. It's a very delicious reading, Jager, you know. He's a very, very pleasant man, and full of good ideas, and some difficult to achieve, I think. So what would be our last PR? I think that we can show you our wish, you know. The wish we can say is that we can work with you, and very often the work starts with training, with audit of usages, usually without instruments, or maybe we use your counters, and then with a last very commonly made service, which is leak detection. It's something that will pay usually, because if you can reduce leaks, it's always something that pays the work that we do for trainings and audit of usages. Training, we prepare you to understand things, you know, better, and to operate better your installation. Audit of usages, we see if your usages are not things that you can suppress or reduce very much, okay? Or maybe you need better compressor quality. Leak detection will pay very fast, you know, if we find good leaks. As we have to visit completely the plant to achieve audit of usages, it's hardly more expensive to look for leaks at the same time, you know. We have a kind of leak detector on the heads, on the ears, and we listen to the ultrasonic emissions of leaks as well as of compressor usages. So we can do the same work at a time, you know. If you are interested, you can call me, and I will explain to you what is this PP, you know. It's a methodology that comes from Loyola. Mr. Loyola was the founder of the Jesuits. You know, me, I'm François Bouteille. I'm not Loyola. This is my name, and you can call me on the telephone that you find on the channel. Thank you very much.